Hello and welcome to Access Asia. I'm Charlie James, and here's what's coming up. China's one-child policy has fueled the trafficking of young brides from Pakistan. As many as 1,000 women and girls have been sold to Chinese men who often abuse and rape them. Their saga and rescue captivated the world. Now, 1 year on, we show you what life looks like for the 12 boys incredibly saved from a Thai cave. And some women in India cut off their hair as an offering to God, but they don't know that hair is then sold for use in salons across the world. A look at the multi-million euro scheme. But we begin in China, where the 35-year-long one-child policy has had devastating consequences on the country's female population. Gender-selective abortions were common, and Human Rights Watch estimates 80 million women are now missing compared to what would have been the natural birth rate. Another result, a lack of brides for all the men who have come of age. This has led to female trafficking in the region, and in Pakistan, police are cracking down on the selling of young brides.
Natasha is a 20-year-old Pakistani woman who was sold off for marriage to a Chinese man. She managed to escape and decided to tell her story.
He used to humiliate me and beat me up. He took my passport and said, "How can you escape? I bought you in Pakistan, you belong to me, you are my property."
It's estimated at least 1,000 Pakistani women have been bought by Chinese men. Most of them, like Natasha, are members of the small, impoverished Christian community of Pakistan. Their families sent them away to be married, sometimes at a very young age, in exchange for large sums of money. Once in China, their husbands often abuse and exploit them.
One day he raped me. The next day a new man came. They were drunk. They raped and beat me. Then he brought more men and ordered me to have sex with them.
The business is fueled by demand in China, where a one-child policy implemented 35 years ago has led to men outnumbering women. Several members of the Christian Pakistani community have made it their mission to help the trafficked women. Along with the Federal Investigation Agency, they arranged a fake marriage between a Pakistani woman and a Chinese man, leading investigators to some of the brokers and the pastors involved in selling brides.
We have no evidence to arrest them. That's what the Federal Investigation Agency told us. To get evidence, we dedicated hours to unearthing trafficking networks. We arranged a fake marriage. Everyone was talking about marriages, but no one was prepared to provide solid evidence.
About 30 men, Chinese and Pakistani, were arrested. But the Pakistani government has instructed the police to remain quiet on the extent of the network, fearing it could harm the country's close economic ties with Beijing.
1 year ago this month, the world turned its eye toward a cave in Thailand's Chiang Rai province. Inside, 12 schoolboys and their football coach were trapped for 17 desperate days. On the anniversary of their successful rescue, Thomas Waterhouse looks at what's become of the boys now.
It was an impromptu adventure after a kickabout that changed their lives forever.
How many of you? 13.
In June last year, a dozen boys from the Wild Boars junior football team and their assistant coach decided to plunge into their favourite local cave. Little did they know that monsoon rains would leave them stranded there for 2 weeks, prompting Thailand's biggest rescue mission. It's been a tale of survival that their friends have followed minute by minute.
He hasn't changed much. He's just an ordinary person like before. He still plays with us, and we go on holiday together.
But much has changed in the past 12 months. The dramatic rescue pulled them out of the dank and dark depths and into the world spotlight, turning them from a small-town squad into international semi-celebrities overnight. They've since travelled the world, even appearing as guests on the Ellen DeGeneres show in the US, where they met their hero, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. A film adaptation of their rescue, titled The Cave, is set to be released this autumn. The boys have also bagged a Netflix deal, and their story has already been published in several books. Their passion for football, meanwhile, has never diminished. 3 months ago, the assistant coach set up his own soccer academy in Thailand's north, and his fellow survivors still take direction from him on the pitch.
Coach Ek is viewed as a disaster survivor. After the rescue, he became well known, and that's given him a lot of opportunities. It's like the calm after the storm. It's a new life for him.
And the place where this inspirational story all began has also changed. A museum about the rescue has been built near the Tam Loon Cave, attracting hundreds of tourists each week. But the actual cavern remains closed to the public for safety reasons, and it's still not known when it will reopen.
Sri Lankans seeking a better life outside their country have been increasingly taking a new migration route. Since Australia and New Zealand have been toughening up treatment of migrants, they're heading west instead, traveling 4,000 kilometers by boat to the French island of Reunion.
Docked at a port in the French island of La Réunion, this is the boat on which Shashi's family crossed the Indian Ocean. A 4,000-kilometer trip on an overcrowded ship.
This is the place, actually. I sitting here. Me and my wife and my baby is here. There's a water flow inside. We got scared. Every time we got scared.
120 people traveled with them, an excruciating 17-day journey to the coast of La Réunion. The first to arrive were on board a raft which seemed adrift. The authorities initially thought there had been a shipwreck, but now say this is a new migration route.
It's not possible for such a trip to have been organized by individuals. The boats were carrying more than 120 people, so obviously there is one or several migration networks exploiting human misery to make money.
So why do these people, most of them Tamils fleeing persecution in Sri Lanka, choose La Réunion? Perhaps because other options, India and Indonesia, are less attractive, while Australia and New Zealand have hardened their immigration laws. In the French island, more than half of an estimated 300 Sri Lankan migrants were expelled, but some were allowed to stay. Vicky and his family are waiting for a response to their asylum request.
I want to freedom. I believe here better life, but I still wait.
There have been no new arrivals in La Réunion since April, but last month 18 Sri Lankan asylum seekers sailed to another French territory in the Indian Ocean, Mayotte. 12 were sent back.
And finally, we head to India, where the long hair of Indian women is in high demand to be used as hair extensions around the world. But not all women realize what happens after they shave their heads. Some believe they are giving their hair as a religious offering, not to end up in a Paris salon.
An increasingly common request. At her hairdresser in the west of Paris, this client is getting hair extensions. These locks, carefully wrapped up in this bag, came 8,000 kilometers to get here.
This hair comes from India, and it's the best quality hair you can find today for extensions. It's of exceptional quality for the client.
The hair of this Parisian woman, extended by 20 centimeters in a matter of seconds.
Given that I consider Indian women to have the most beautiful hair in the world, now I can have a little Indian side.
But this high quality comes at a price. The bill for these few locks, 1,000 euros. And here's where they likely came from. This region in southeastern India, where religion is everywhere. No gift can be too small for the Hindu gods. Pilgrims honor them with prayers and offerings. But the best donation of all is hair. A sign of sacrifice and of gratitude, including for children.
2 months ago, my daughter had chickenpox. We were very worried and we prayed a lot, promising that if she was healed, we'd come to the temple and offer her hair.
After shaving, the longest locks of hair are placed in this offering box.
Nobody knows where it will go. It's simply a donation to the temple. Go ahead, put it in the box.
Afterwards, temples sell the hair at auction in complete secrecy. Cameras aren't allowed. The price depends on the length of the locks, going all the way up to 350 euros a kilo. In this truck alone, there are 170 kilos of hair, a sum that's worth tens of thousands of euros. It's bought by specialized factories like this one, where workers turn masses of disheveled hair into orderly ponytails.
This is the hair that comes from the temple, this type. They sort it by category. So each and every lock is unbound, and then they're attached together.
Segregated and do it for tangle-free.
The hair is washed again, and then dried. Some locks are dyed and recolored with strict oversight at each step. They're then exported to more than 55 countries. The end result, this company's sales extend beyond 7 million euros a year, all thanks to the devotion of the faithful, a lucrative business that the company's director has no qualms about.
The temple which is getting the hair free from the ladies, they spend the money for a lot of charity work. They give poor people feeding, they run universities, they run hospitals. I'm buying the good thing in the sense we are converting waste into foreign exchange. Now imagine the temple hair. If there is no market for this, they have to throw it.
Inside the temples, believers have to pay for the right to shave their hair. A little less than €1 for this offering. Many have no idea what comes after that.
No, I didn't know this at all. If my hair was sold, that's really not good.
Only the leaders of the temple know what happens afterwards.
Sowed from the seeds of devotion, a global business is born. In a few weeks, these locks of hair will have new owners in Paris and beyond.
Thanks so much for watching this edition of Access Asia, and stay tuned to France 24.